the Constitution states that the person equally have a right, and that right you must respect it. So photocopy the complaint you have made, whether it is human rights, it is corruption, or it is on administrative justice. So because of that, the whistleblower is there for people who fear, or you think one way or the other, that by that particular procedure of using that constitutional provision to photocopy your complaint and give to the institution or individual or group of person you have made a complaint against, you are liable to be at rest. You are supposed to come under the Whistleblower Act. Under the Whistleblower Act, your protection is guaranteed because it's supposed to be what? Confidential. The person who receives the disclosure is not supposed to reveal your identity. That was why I mentioned the incident where they said somebody threw the whistle to the police officer and the identity of the person was later unknown. But once he blow the whistle to you, it is only you who have the information. I have a whistleblower listen that I was investigating. Ask the registrar, she doesn't know what it is. Ask my regional director, she doesn't know where it has got. He may know that at this level, but some of the things, it is me who is investigating it. So sometimes I'm holding the case and people, let me collect your back, say no, it's okay, because I'm afraid of what will happen. So in that sense, you come under the whistleblower if you think that your identity, when it is known by the one you are making a complaint against, you will be at risk, your property or your relatives will be at risk. You come under the whistleblower. For now, that is what we have. Aside that, if you blow the whistle and you still think that the perpetrator, by whatever means, suspicion or real leakage of information, and your life or property is at stake, the whistleblower requires that you report that victimization to what? The tribe. Says even before you go to court, you must report to tribe. And Tirad had received such in one particular institution. It was a teacher who blew the whistle and he was victimized. So he reported to Tirad that he blew the whistle against, on the capitation grant, misuse of capitation grant, and then really, when we did the investigation, we found out that no, there was actually victimization in this particular case. So, by law, we have power to issue interim order. We order that the teacher should be sent back, the transfer should be reversed, and that was what happened. Eventually, we didn't enforce that one. Reversal of the transfer. The teacher sent back to the school that he was, blew the whistle, and then he was victimized and transferred. So that is how what the law provides for now for people. Now tie that to what my brother asked. Like say a journalist, a nurse, and then people are threatening that his identity should be exposed. You can imagine if the identity of a nurse is exposed, what will happen? Certainly people will attack him. So under such circumstances, the whistleblower requires that if your life is at threat, you make a complaint, then the state will provide security for you. At the NCC forum, we were made to understand that there is somebody currently the state is providing what? Security for 24/7. Police are guiding the person. That is what the law requires also. Aside that, and with particular reference to announce people pressuring that his identity should be revealed, civil society and all of us is part of the anti-corruption fight. We have to come out and stand firmly that no, his identity should never be revealed. So that we now serve as well protection for him. Because he's working for us. So we should also do our side of the responsibility by protecting him. Otherwise, if we leave him, and one day somebody wins a case and says his identity should be exposed, there's trouble for him. Maybe he can decide to leave Ghana, but who will be there to? help us do such investigations? No. And as we are already constrained, some of the investigation is being, we cannot do that. We cannot do that. We are constrained. And the politicians know why they are constraining state institutions, so that they trample on the masses. So that is what we can do. Civil society can come out with the people, and then we stand firmly and let whoever the power that be know that, look, this is a no-go area. And that is why NACA says, condemn and make corruption a what? A no-go area. We can make it a no-go area by making people to understand that Anas is untouchable. And so the people will protect him. You understand? It's like when your nation is at war with another, and then they find out that those who want to bomb find out that the people are used as a shield. They are afraid to bomb that particular individual or facility because human beings are used as a shield. So let's protect Anas. And those who feel their life is threatened after making disclosure, they should report. The law will provide police for those people, for their families. For corruption activities. What actually happens is, like I indicated, we depend on donor support. We depend on NGO, civil society, organizing, and we coming in. But what are we doing? What we are doing is that we make it reflect in our reports to Parliament and also other regional, international human rights conferences and reports. Indeed, if you read the U.S. State Department report on Ghana, you see some of these things reflecting there, that we are understaffed and all those things. And this may be something that we will not be privileged to, but I think some World Bank came around talking to us as part of resolving this issue of funding. So we are seeing the sun rise, and then we're hoping that as it rises, the light will come, and then that darkness will vanish. So let's all keep praying that much as our own governments are constraining us, other people, because the World Bank team, one remark that I remember, they said, you are doing so much, and because of that, we want to be part of you. So they were prepared to sponsor us. Let's pray that when the funding comes, it doesn't stop somewhere. Because for now, we are even inheriting offices in this thing. And we are supposed to be independent. How can you inherit somebody's office and you investigate that person? It's difficult. Unless, like my brother said, you'll be like me. Because me, I can deal with you. The next moment I investigate you. You see. So these are some of the things where our commissioner is always traveling, looking for partners. On our own, we write proposals for partners. We have found a way of circumventing that obstacle that our leaders put, so that we can educate the people. Then political parties. It depends on what the complaint is all about. If, for example, a particular political party is like this assembly elections is coming, and a complaint comes to us that a particular political party is influencing people's vote, why not? We'll investigate them. And I think the political parties, the law on political parties' activities, it spells out the kind of activities that they are supposed to carry out. Contributions, and even other countries, they determine the amount of money that you contribute to a political party can receive. So that law is there to ensure that political parties do not use their position and say this is a private entity. It's not governmental. But its activities affect the people and affect the nation. So what really happens is that depending on the nature of the complaint, if it has something that comes under the definition of corruption in Ghana, why not try to investigate them? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any hands up? Otherwise, Mr. Bani is effectively treated and discharged. So you can hand over your folder to the the Senior Nursing Officer. Thank you very much, Mr. Bani. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, we would like to invite Mr. Abdulrazak Sani, the NCCE Regional Director. Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. And thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and organizers for this very important forum. Let me also acknowledge the presence of respected religious leaders. I've seen Reverend Whedon, Sheikh is here, and all of you. We are celebrating the Day Against Corruption. And I have been asked to give a keynote address. I thought keynote addresses were usually delivered by politicians. But once I have been asked to do it, I will do it. My presentation is going to be a plea on leadership. A plea on leadership. Why am I talking about leadership? I am talking about leadership because God Himself has proclaimed leaders as His representatives on earth. The Bible in First Peter chapter 1 verse 13, Reverend Whedon, I hope I'm right, talks about, for the sake of the Lord, submit to every human authority. The Quran talks about leadership. Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasulim. Social commentators have also talked about leadership. Balfour, if you look at the Balfour motto, the philosophy, one man makes a difference. Professor Adai will tell you that, look, leadership is everything. Leadership is a cause of any other. So what we see today as corruption is the failure of leadership. In 1982, Chinua Achebe wrote a book, A Trouble with Nigeria. It's a small book. And I wish to urge all of us to read it. I just want to read a paragraph of that book for you. The trouble with Nigeria is simply and squarely a failure of leadership. There is nothing wrong with the Nigerian character. There is nothing wrong with the Nigerian land, or climate, or waters, or air, or anything else. The Nigerian problem is the unwillingness or inability of these leaders to rise to the responsibility, to the challenge of personal example, which are the hallmark of true leadership. God created here and put us here and gave us leaders. Whatever we make of this place will be the result of the efforts of our leaders. A gentleman was telling me that he went to Amsterdam airport, and there in the airport he saw that yes, God created here, but we made Amsterdam. And that is true. God created the land, the earth, but it is leaders that will make us what we want or what we don't want. Ladies and gentlemen, corruption has eaten us up. Today, corruption is not eating us, Corruption has eaten us up. We are paralyzed as a nation. Serious economic paralysis. There is serious political paralysis. There is very serious socio-cultural paralysis. We see it. We feel it. We are with it. What has leadership done to get out of this problem? And I think very sincerely that the organizers thought that we have to look at it from the other side. And that is how we brought all of you here. All of us. Because all of us here as religious leaders in one way or the other have links with those in leadership. They come to you for praise. They give you money. Pastor, the chairman was talking about the Google definition of corruption. Etymological. Etymology is a study of how words begin. Etymological. Corruption is derived from the Latin word corruptus, which means broken into pieces. If you understand what that means, it means that in a nation where there is corruption, everything is broken into pieces. And that is what we see today in our lives. Education is broken into pieces. Health sector is broken into pieces. Agri is broken into pieces. Child upbringing, even entertainment, sports, all of them are broken into pieces. So where are we? And why are we doing this to ourselves? Look at the number from Manhattan. I mean, the bin Shasha and the woman, the entire fitting. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, I think that we don't even know why we are here. Because I am not happy. Corruption, the state of corruption in this country is terrible. The state of corruption yesterday and today is terrible. This morning I heard the Vice President on radio saying that we have a beautiful country, beautiful democracy. I said, good. Yes, the Vice President has a convoy that he travels with. So he doesn't know that there is confusion in Tama. Because when his convoy is moving, all the yolo will clear. So they go into town and see the mess. Everyone who is supposed to buy the yolo. Last week a woman came and bought 25 from Bangladesh. In any case, I don't know how to interrogate where she got the money, but I know there is politics. In the Vice President's house, water doesn't get short. Electricity doesn't go up. He has a doctor that takes care of him. His children have lived good schools. So he has every reason to say that the democracy we have is beautiful. In any case, beauty lies in the eyes of the one beholder. You and maybe some other people in the villages don't think that our democracy is beautiful. Last Saturday, I was in Canada to meet with people on this referendum. Ladies and gentlemen, what I heard from ordinary citizens of this country makes me afraid. We're sitting on a time bomb. And I dare say, and look, our leaders, those that are making a plea, must wake up from their slumber. They live in a dream world, But in the world of reality, Monday, today's date, I lost my elder brother. You know, we sent him to the hospital, permanent teaching hospital, and at the time that he was sent there, there was no senior doctor to attend emergency cases. My brother died. That doctor who should have been there will receive his salary. Corruption. You see, when you go and stand on foreign road around the Uranium box, around 10 o'clock, you see teachers who are going to teach at them, but are still looking for vehicles. Corruption. When you go on our roads, Mr. Bani or who's never talked about it, our speed lamps have been reconstructed in less than 4 years. What is that? I have seen something in Germany. If you construct a bridge or something, you write on the bridge, the parapet. This thing was constructed by this person and it is supposed to do 30, 40 years. If within that period there is any deterioration, you will be blacklisted. In Germany, what do we see in Ghana? Corruption is making us poor. Leadership has failed in this country. From the First Republic up to date, you still find projects that were started and have been abandoned. Monies have been sunk. And we are not getting any benefits. Why? Because a leader comes in and he is also interested in his own pockets. Corruption. Oil is the come water. I tell you, what is it about Christian? Come on, Christian. Mangoyam Chilashale, Kanjashale. What are we doing to ourselves? Are we sensible? Come on, is this sense? Development, governance is a continuum. I start to become a continuum. Today, in this country, everybody is sick, including the president. Because the president himself doesn't know what is happening. Maybe the speech writers will say everything is rosy. Yes! In their world! In the world of reality, there is a lot that we have to interpret. I want to make a plea to government. Ladies and gentlemen, if we have to end corruption, then all of us must be good. And I believe we should start with you, the religious leaders. And that is why GII brought you here. Speak the truth. If in the world that we are, there is no one who can speak the truth, including the leaders, then we are doomed. This is how we do love suicide. I want the best for my children. I have 5 children. I want the best for them. Chef has grandchildren. Children, he wants the best for them. The children are finished school. There's no job. Every year from January 1st to 31st December, Ghana loses $3 billion to corruption. You can see this one. After $1 billion, $3 billion, you will come only. Last year, $3 billion. You can see this one. And now, the politician, the papa, making the man of dollar. They will pay $1.5 billion. You know what we get in the form of loans, in the form of aid, in the form of grants, it's not up to $1.5 billion. Yet we lose $3 billion. Do you know what $3 billion can do? With $3 billion, we can build 5 more of Tamale Teaching Hospital. With $3 billion, we can fix all of the most involved in 1 year. With $3 billion, we can employ 1 politicians should not come only give us money and cars. We should tell them the truth. The French have a saying that la vérité est un marche, rien ne peut plus l'arrêter. Always shall people die. And that is what I'm talking about. Our leadership of failures. What should we do? Ladies and gentlemen, from our homes it started. The Dungaraka killing shape. We don't speak the truth to the children. Jimmy! Lolo come Jimmy! Say the line, let me shout, bim, 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 ma, bim, 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 the partnership. The gentleman went to a prophet and said, look, I'm a thief, I'm a liar. You know, he mentioned a whole lot of things that he does, but I want to join your religion. What will I do? And the prophet said, oh, you can do away with one and then come into the religion. And said, which one? Will you take away lies? You stop lying. So he accepted it. And as time went on, no, he goes to steal. He said, oh, if I steal and they catch me, I can't lie. So he stopped stealing. If I'm promiscuous and I'm caught, I can't lie. So the very cause of our problem is lies. Shirk. Nukuran marla shirk. Kabir banyara kalla. Katirtaba. How can elderly people sit down with young ones and be telling lies? How can we do that? So from the home, we didn't teach our children that, look, there is value in speaking the truth. There was once Friday, a German couple came to me. German couple with their son. German, they go to ceremony. So, as the children of the last country, and in my house, we have some dogs. And whenever there is somebody at the door, the dogs will bark. So there is an elderly woman who comes to me every Friday and I give her alms. And when she came that Friday, the dogs were barking. I knew someone was at the door. I went in to see. And the white man and his wife were there inside. When I was going there, a little boy who is 9 years old, 9 years, he followed me out. And when I came, I gave the woman what I could give her. Then he asked me, who is she? I said, she's a bird. What did you give her? I said, I gave her alms. And I was telling her I was going, but he was still looking at the woman. You know what he said? She might have been a lazy woman. She might have been one, a lazy woman when she was young. And you know what he next said? If you want to be rich, you have to work hard and pray. Here we pray, but we don't work. Now, why won't you give me for us? And we want all to give us money. Come to us. Later in the day, I was going to town to pick something at the OA station. The boy followed me in the car. The parents were still at home. And when we came to agree traffic light, you know, it showed yellow, amber. I passed. When we came, you know what he told the mother and father? Elijah was going to kill me. The mother said, what? It showed amber and he drove. Today, do you know the number of children who don't think that it is a crime when it is red you can cross? Because their fathers and mothers will be carrying them to school when it is red. One day I stood there during the fast. I stood by the traffic light. Mothers were going to mosque Friday, and I said, you know the time, you know the time, you know the time. And when I stopped there, they started to stop. Must you be trained to do the right thing? women now. You that is if you're going to pray. Obeying the laws of your country is also part of prayer. It's a form of worship. Obeying the laws of your country is a form of worship. Because we are talking. And it's like a bit tired. I'm a bit tired. They use so much. They use so much. It's terrible. I saw something that has been happening during, I saw it started during the first time. A minister of state will come to a function, the Lord will be working until the end of the program. Why? So that the vehicle will be cold. It happened before these people were NBC came, I told it to end. This, we're also doing it. Today is still continuing. If you were buying your own fuel, would you do that? Abuse of entrusted power. So electricity. Because electricity bill, paying electricity bill and buying fuel in your vehicle is not small. A few days ago, somebody saw you riding a motorbike and you were complaining to a friend. Hey, it's so nice, director, riding a motorbike. I said, director is hot. Director's pocket is hot. And director must cut his cloth according to his size. My brothers and sisters, my plea to the leadership is this. My plea, Afa, the concerning general, from here now, the Senator of Father to the man. Nijalaba and Yaman, and Santa. Yaraba be a Yalet Mare, the son. To Dantama, Isabel, Pastor Bill, Monty Bill, Reverend Weather, Desire from our homes. Let's speak the truth to the children. I have never been promiscuous. I have never spoken ill when my children are alive. My father was saying, my father will never speak ill when children are alive. He will never even talk about anybody. Please, let us start from home. The journey to end corruption is critical. It's very critical for me to forget the being so. We want good roads. If you go to Namibia and see their roads, superb. If you come to Tamale or Ghana to see our roads, full of guru, full of hunchbacks, what is that? Are we serious? Kachan Hospital. What are we doing to ourselves? Agree. The president has thought about this planting for food so that we can be self-sufficient. Why? Go to school. Here in Tamale, the worst corruptors, the worst corrupt people are the women teachers. They won't go and teach. You go to school 11 o'clock is coming. Why are you doing it? I know about that. Now we are know. After Messiah. So please, I want to appeal to all of us. Those of our pastors who are here, the Morbis are here. We will continue to talk. You know, sometimes when people see I see you on TV, you talk about this, I hear you on radio, and I ask myself, are we making any impact? Pastor, for the media, Ladies and gentlemen, we have a responsibility. I need to shall to do woman. What we are doing is not government of Ghana that has given us money. It's a meeting since today. It's that they know that the Millennium Mbanga is still what number of because of now. Because yes, you have an interested power. You have an interested power, and you are using it terribly. You have a wife and you have girlfriends. I said to Kodorona to Dhamma. On this day, Mr. Chairman, on this day, let us renew our resolve to fight corruption. Corruption is terrible, it's evil, it's not something that we should entertain in our national life. That's my uncle. My boy did tell me. Father told us that if you want to buy a new thing, look at the old time. If you want to stick logo, look at those who have been sticking logo. If you want to bleach, look at those who have been bleaching. If you want to drink alcohol, look at those who have been drinking. And that is enough for us for you. So you see, Sheikh, somewhere the government I know, Mama, you know, Suma, you know, if we want corruption, and to do other countries that are corrupt. We want to look at others who do not entertain corruption. Look at London, look at England, look at Germany, look at America. You know what? The German Minister of Health, German Minister of Health, she was on leave and she used her official vehicle to travel to Austria. She was asked to resign. Today when you go to our minister's house, you have a vehicle that sends children to school, you have a vehicle that sends women to hospital and clinic and market, you have a vehicle that goes to funerals, you have a vehicle that takes the dog to veterinary, you have a that is the call to our leaders. So we are that way. Pastor, tell them that we are watching them. Let me know. Leadership must change our situation. The first time I went to America, that time, Alaji did that empty. That I landed the people now manage also. They say, you come to today, jungle to Roma. Can't America? After that, and Gujarat Visa. 72nd floor, Stephenson Tower in New York. And I said, let me see whether water will flow. Because if Damali were good, there is a hill. That is why water cannot come to Damali. What I opened it, true, I said, alhamdulillah. We have a lot to do. And that is why, because it's a failure of what? Leadership. We can do much. We can do it. We can achieve something. Perhaps in our lives, not in English. That is the will of God, and we will continue to love. On this note, I want to call on all of our leaders, beginning with the religious leaders. And yes, there is a need for us to talk about corruption, to work together to ensure that corruption ends in this country. Assalamu alaikum.
I was thinking that we all be trying by now. Let's put our hands together one more time. Because he has reflected the mirror, the image in the mirror back to us. He's painted a very gloomy picture. And I'm sure he has learned nothing. He has hit the nail right where it is supposed to be. Leadership. It is cause everything else we are told is what? The effect of leadership. Unfortunately, leadership in this country is failing us. And it cuts across everywhere. Our religious leaders, our political leaders, Alhaji has mentioned all of them. Sadly, we are all afraid to speak like Alhaji has done. Perhaps because we all desire the little goodies that we get from their table, the crumbs that we get from their table. And the story he told about the minister having a car for the wife, a car for the dog, a car for... He's not making it up. These are real things. A minister's girlfriend sometimes in Accra and other places, they have 2-3 cars. And they do nothing alone. They are those we call the slave queens. They do virtually nothing. It is all because of what? Corruption. Sadly, there are too many of us young people who have been overly engaged in politics, jobless, and yet we are ready to defend politicians, even with our life. It is sad. Despite the fact that we are painting a gloomy picture, we want to invite the Ahmadiyya rep, Mr. Chairman, with your kind permission, to give us his presentation. Maulu, thank you very much, and I hope you will enlighten us.
I seek refuge from Satan, their cursed, and I begin in the name of Allah, most gracious, ever merciful. Our most revered chairman, most reverend Nathan Samini, my respected father Sheikh Alhaji Abdulrazak Sani, and all protocols duly observed. May the peace and blessings of Allah be upon us all. Before I say anything, I would want to admit that I'm saddened. At the same time, I'm highly elated by the speech of Alhaji Abdulrazak Sani. Why am I saddened? I'm so saddened because as leaders, we cannot deny whatever he made mention of us. We cannot deny that we only make juicy requests to politicians and we are not able to tell them the truth. And the MC has said it all. Because we are always in need of something from them. We only follow them to buy us cars for our leaders. We only follow them to send us to Hajj. And that automatically will not enable us to tell them what is the truth. When they come to Tamar, we fight for which mosque and which church that the Vice President should attend. May Allah enable us to stop this. And I'm so highly elated also because we still have people like Alhaji Abdulrazak Sani among us. I therefore pray and hope that Allah grants him a very healthy long life and give to us many more of Alhaji Abdulrazak Sani. May Allah enable the youth among us to step in for them. Corruption, as we are all crying day in, day out, is one of the worst predicaments that harms many countries around the world today. And this ailment called corruption is something that most Muslims and Christians are into. And this raises the question of whether there is anything in the Islamic or Christian culture that nurtures corruption. The answer is indeed a big no. In the Islamic or Christian tradition, there is nothing that nurtures the cancer that we call corruption. I want to remind us of the fact that there is a general agreement that religion and ethics are closely linked. And religion provides a system of norms and values guiding how individuals should live. Such norms and values are what is codified as beliefs of either Muslims, Islam, or Christianity. So the answer to why most of us are still involved in corruption while we claim to be religious, because research has come out to tell us that, let me just say local, that 84% of the world population claim to be religious. If that is the case, why corruption is so rampant among us today? The answer is that it is not because of Christianity or Islam, but the answer is that we, the adherents of these religions, are not adequately faithful to our teachings. Because if we are faithful to our teachings, you get to realize in the Quran and in the Bible there are so many verses that talk against corruption, that advise the adherents of these two religions that we should not in any way involve in corruption. In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that, "O ye who believe, betray not the trust of Allah and the messenger, nor misappropriate knowingly things entrusted to you." There are lots and lots of this in the Holy Quran. And we go to the Bible in 2 Chronicles 19:7. "Now, then let the fear of the Lord be upon you. Be careful what you do, for there is no injustice with the Lord our God, or partiality, or taking bribes." This is from the Bible as well. And this supports the point I made by saying that it is we, the adherents of these religions, who are not actually faithful to our teachings. They are enable us to be true to our teachings and to practice what we claim we believe in. The organizers deem it fit to ask me to say something little on the role of faith-based organization, what we are doing, or what we should do. And when you look into the NACAP, it has categorically stated some of the things we should do as religious leaders in order to help curb this cancer that is killing us. As religious leaders, the strength of access that we have to the people and our influence over them as leaders in the society, we must and we are taking the anti-corruption message to the pulpit. And this will mean that we are making frantic efforts by preaching or taking the fight against corruption in the church and in the mosque. We've met with GII on several occasions, the leaders, and we've all understood the need for us to, even at times, we need to sacrifice some of our sermons wholly for corruption. And we have started doing that because I've been in collaboration with some of my senior colleagues. To mention by a few is Sheikh Amin Bamba, who is in Akraba, he's on his way to Tamale, and some other colleagues. And I've been in contact with some of my colleagues from the Christian denomination as well. And we are really preaching seriously. We are taking the message to the pulpits. As religious leaders as well, we are also trying to examine the value system and to use it as a leader to engage broad public education and sensitization campaigns to raise awareness about anti-corruption issues and to improve the quality of public ethics and morality in the society. And also, as leaders, we would have to develop a code of conduct for ourselves and uphold strict principles of transparency and accountability in relation to funds entrusted to us. Because if we ourselves are not able to tread on the path of righteousness, which will enable us to inculcate in ourselves some sense of integrity, we may be falling prey to some corrupt practices ourselves. God forbid. And if this happens, you see how difficult it will be for you to stand in front of the people and tell them not to be corrupt. Because you are corrupt yourself. You have seen something that is wrong in a politician. And because you've asked a politician to come and do this for you, when he comes, as Elijah said, we only pray for them. And we don't even want anybody to mention what will make that particular politician to be angry with you. We only pray for them because we need the cash they will give us. We are human beings. I will pray that Allah will enable us to fight over, to come over this. I think it's human. It is only because we are human. So we also need the prayers of everybody as leaders that we should continue praying for us, that we should not be people who are always in need, and that will stop us from speaking the truth to the appropriate courtesies. We are also meeting and taking firm resolve that we will be among the people who will be speaking up and condemning corruption and taking the lead as leaders to report corrupt actions to appropriate anti-corruption agencies and law enforcement bodies in the country. We were in a radio program day before yesterday, and somebody called in to ask that we are claiming we are going to fight corruption. But we are the same people. When somebody from your church or mosque commits a crime, you see the imam himself is calling the MCE or calling the regional minister to come in as so and so. The leaders have also met, both Islamic and Christian leaders. And we are taking firm resolve that even if it so happens in our mosques, we would not try to compromise on anything. And indeed, because of this, we are telling the people, our congregants, that don't think you can go and misbehave and commit any corrupt practice, and you come to Mobi to call our MC or to call regional minister. So I'm assuring the chairman and the high table and everybody here that those who may be having these questions, please don't act, because we are taking steps on fighting these particular issues. A lot has already been said, so I have a lot of news here, but I've decided just to stay here and I'll pray and hope that whatever little that I've also been able to add to what my senior police have said here, Allah will enable us and enlighten us and enable us to be among those who will be ambassadors, real ambassadors of corruption, and not among those who are only saving from radio stations and taking part in this program. May Allah enable us to be part of those people.
Thank you very much. Let's put our hands together one more point. We are grateful, sir, and may Allah bless you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. On this note, we have reached the stage where we want pledges and comments from our religious bodies. We are not going to do it in any special order. Civil society organizations present here as well. Just raise your hand up. I'll give you the microphone, and then you make your comments, you make your pledges, and then we move on. Marobi has just given us a pledge that they are not going to just pay lip service. They want to push this further and make it very practical. They are going to support the fight against corruption. If you don't belong to any civil society organization or religious group here, you are an individual. You are welcome to make a pledge. Thank you very much. Please tell us where you are coming from, your name.
Thank you.
Chairman's Commission. My name is Mohammed Ashraf. I'm the coordinator for Bamba Islamic Institute Ghana. And in fact, I just want to add a little to what Mr. Sani says before I declare my support. Whatever we start with as kids, a lot of us still remember it, and it's still behind us wherever we walk. And I would only encourage that policymakers should try as much as possible to put in a course at that little level, or primary basic level, course of how dangerous corruption is, and ensure we add it to our curriculums. Our kids will be able to learn, and the fight that our brothers and seniors and fathers have started would bear fruit someday. Really, they do it now. I'll stand here and declare support on behalf of the leadership of Bamba Islamic Institute. I would want to thank Ghana Integrity Initiative and for reminding us and also creating this awareness and education. We have declared our support fully, and inshallah we would serve as #1 ambassadors of anti-corruption. Thank you.
Let's put our hands together for our brothers. They will be serving as ambassadors. Our women have been very, very quiet too. Usually I find women to have the best of ideas, but in programs like this they will always be quiet until you push them to the wall. Is someone willing to prove me wrong? Mommy. Anyway, I called mommy and mommy looked back. So we are still waiting. Religious groups, individuals, civil society organizations. If you are a journalist and you are here, Albert Kutuko, my brother from NTV.
Thank you so much. My name is Atuliga from Ruhas. Director, I want to thank you for the sermon you delivered, but I will listen it as a sermon. I want to find out something with your past experience. Don't you also think that over the years, the punishment they give for people engaging in corruption is a cause for where we are today? For instance, you see that somebody will steal a good, the person is sentenced to 2 years. Then somebody goes to steal probably 1 billion. The person goes to prison for 2 years, and after 2 years, the person comes out. The person is enjoying the booty. What do you think about that? Then the religious leaders. I'm happy we have some reverend ministers with us here. I'm from a dual religious sect. Sometimes I'm just wondering whether one day if the reverend ministers will Christian the sermon that I want to talk on corruption, how many people will we see in the church? All the time, we always see that this pastor has a sermon on your year of breakthrough, how to make money, how to do this. And that is also a cause of concern. So people go to church and all they think of is, these are the ways that I can use to make money. But if our pastors are also now involved in the crusade to fight against this corruption that we have been fighting over the years, by directing their sermons on some of these things, I think we'll make a good way. Thank you so much.
Okay. There's a hand up. Whilst walking there, you see, it is not only preaching about sermon. These days, we have fathers and pastors who have started doubling money. I don't know where you put that.
I am Manfred Wada, and I'm the minister in charge of the Presbyterian Church Unity Congregation. I think there is that proverbial statement that Presbyterian discipline. We have heard all about it because Presbyterians were disciplined. Alaji was continually mentioning my name because he knows that our school is one of the disciplined schools and all his children went to that school. So we, as Presbyterians, we continue to preach against corruption. We fight it in all our institutions, and we will continue to do so. And that's the reflect that out again. And we begin it. And indeed, even all churches begin it even from the children. Children's service every Sunday, up to the junior, to the youth, to all. And so we pledge that the Presbyterian discipline will continue and we will use it to fight corruption. But my brother's statement was rather very general. If there are other pastors who have made the gospel commercial and they preach how to make money, it is no role who preach money. We preach Jesus crucified. And what he will do to be part of that system. So for us, we preach against corruption. And we preach against discipline.
Let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much. And I'm a proud product of the Presbyterian system. I attended Presbyterian primary school and junior high school somewhere in the Volta region, now OT. So I think I'm disciplined. Albert, I don't think you will doubt that. I don't think Alaji will doubt the fact that I'm disciplined. A little disciplined. Thank you very much. I'm still receiving your pledges. Thank you very much, Reverend.
I am Reverend Francis Sabiga, Unit Matter Solution. As a unit, every recently we have a meeting with our head teachers, directing them that we try to teach our children not to be corrupt in all our worships. So Friday and Wednesdays, they have to be a worship. They have to look at that area. Corruption. And even our church, our team is teaching to be like Christ. Teaching to be like Christ means that he was an uncorrupted person. So in our churches, it's also our team this year to teach the congregation about what correction costs to the nation and even our society. So we pray that we continue to teach about corruption, which is not good for our community. And also we teach our children to also look at it in different angles. If corrupt, it means that if you won't go to hell, there's more children when we talk about heaven, they always talk about heaven. So we pray that we continue to teach to be like Christ. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, I work for ISO. Sorry for my voice. We have actually been part of many coalitions that has to do with anti-corruption. And I think we are also making a commitment, even though we're making a commitment as part of our projects in relation to promoting transparency and accountability in many of our projects. We have a number of projects, for instance, GSAM, which is looking at how the district assemblies actually implementing most of their project to the extent that there's some level of participation of these citizens and local people at the hard-to-reach areas. So we have also developed scorecards to be able to actually monitor the extent of participation and be able to score some of these projects that are actually implemented. The intention is actually to improve into transparency, accountability, and performance of these district assemblies. So there are some selected districts that are actually into this. Because we believe that the theory of change in relation to fighting corruption is that if our natural resources are extracted and utilized in ways that are transparent and properly accounted for, then access to essential services such as health, such as education, and rent would actually be realized. So this is something we are actually promoting. We also have another one, that is Ghana Oil and Gas for inclusive economic growth. That is also something we are looking at in relation to that. We also have this Tax Justice Coalition, where we look at issues of to promote tax equity, transparency, and accountability for national development. In this, we actually try to look for a network and partnership that can fight issues around tax injustice. That is another area that is creating a lot of poverty issues, a lot of inequality. So it is something we have actually pledged to also support in all other areas that relates to anti-corruption fight.
Thank you.
Yeah, our brother asked a question, and he wanted to know whether it's because of the very, mild nature of the punishment regime. That is why corruption is. Yes, it could be one of those. See, people, when you go into a criminal code, corruption, there is no definition for corruption. Stealing, they say, somebody in the Facebook says misdemeanor. What misdemeanor is? You have done something, you have done something that shouldn't have been done. It could be one of the reasons. The punishment meted out to people who are corrupt is not deterrent enough. One ambassador, former ambassador to Ghana, Ghana's ambassador to China, I heard him on television at the Joban. He was saying that, look, in China, when you are corrupt, you are sentenced. Let's suppose that, because I don't want to be, and I don't want my friend to be, let's suppose that Mr. X is corrupt, and he was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and he was sent to jail. While in jail, halfway through his term, 5 years, he died. In Ghana, what will happen? That will be the end. They will go and bring his close relations to come and end the term. Yes, his close relation will be brought to end the 10 years imprisonment. If you have died, doesn't mean that you will still serve it. No. Either your wife or your children will do it, or your father. So it's a risky venture. China, come on, you I do it. That is not part of quality. Come on, you never put that. Come So when they talk about corruption, they are serious. So if someone is going to be corrupt, he looks at this and he says, oh, look at the way we are discreting the environment. We cut trees terribly. In China, when you are going to cut a tree, then you should give a plan of the 10 trees you are going to replace. I am Matia. Impossible people to drop the shape of Matia. I am Matia. Shall name Berlatia. Come on, check out money. Come in to issues more Berlatia. You know, Berlo, Salo, they can do sell. I'm not shooting. Now, it's for the city, it's for the country. All of this thing is corruption. And then the quality that you is a corruption. It's corruption. It's a corruption. A chief can sell land the way he wants. Who told you to do that? And leadership politicians are looking at them. They do what they want. Corruption. Now we are
Now, what in your that is what Alaji said. I'm not the one saying it. Great.
Okay, so Richard from Senegal. So, for us, we are in the fight against corruption. Those of us that know SENG, it's a daily activity for us, which we do through our public policy research and advocacy. But I just want to speak on one issue Director mentioned in his presentation, which has to do with, and especially that I'm a Christian, so I would want to cite the Christian example. I know and I've witnessed a number of church activities that You go to church and they are raising funds. And the person they put in charge of fundraising is someone who probably has money, who has so much wealth, sometimes ill-gotten wealth. But the problem we have as Christians is because we don't really question or get to know or investigate the source of the wealth of some of our Christian people we choose to lead the fundraising activities at our churches. So if we begin to shun those with ill-gotten wealth from our churches, those behind or those other congregants or parishioners would learn from the example of the churches and ensure that they don't get in touch with people who are questionable in terms of how they came about with their wealth. So we should start from the church. I don't know about the mosque, whether they raise funds and whether or not they do some of those things. But my issue has to do with how we should be able to question some of the people we select as leaders of our churches and ensure that they don't infest their ill-gotten wealth with the other members of the church.
This man is calling for a revolution. We'll get back to you. Let's hear you.
My name is Bishop of Something Better. I may not be able to pledge on behalf of my office because everybody says we are already corrupt. It's a difficult thing to pledge on behalf of the office. But one thing I want to add also is that maybe we should be more conscious of what corruption is. It's not just talking about it as religious leaders and others, but what is it in the first place to us? Let's say in the church, a lot of people are still selling water, holy water, they call it, or anointing oil. What is that one? Is it not corruption? The grace in the church is not supposed to be sold. You don't sell water to people to heal them. You don't let people pay for the healing they are coming for in the church. I think that is corruption. When we go to the mosque, I am a Christian, but I've been working with Muslims all my life. When it's time for fasting, the time you are supposed to atone for your sins, that's the time they bring sugar to the offices to share. That's the time people are embezzling this sugar to their homes. Is that not corruption? You pick 10 bags of sugar and keep in your house to also share out to people, to go and fast. What are you doing? If you steal to give to them, are you praying with them or you are rather helping them to also learn how to steal? I think this is corruption. So please, let's think about it in our own little way. What is corruption to us? As Alaji was saying, in our homes, we are training our children to be corrupt. You have 5 children, you are favoring one and leaving the other. That is corruption. Teach them to grow up as human beings, to love each other and respect each other. You don't teach them division from childhood. That, I think, is corruption. So please, let's think about it. Forget about the fact that it is the pastors they are talking to. It is the mothers they are talking to. It is other leaders they are talking to. What is me? How corrupt am I? Just ask yourself, how corrupt are you, even in your home? And that is, once we are aware of this, we can deal with corruption. Thank you.
I think this lady can preach. I told you, ladies hardly speak, but when they speak, they bring out a lot of goodies. You know, it reminds me of an advert from the VRA network. During fasting, we usually will mount a campaign. If you do illegal connection and you use the electricity to cook and you fast, your fasting is now on point. It is the truth per Islamic teachings. Sadly, you see, for those of you who are not Muslims, make time, study the fundamentals of Islam, get to know the Quran. These days, with your phone, you can just Google anything at all. Just Google and get to learn about Islam. For you who are Muslims, for some people, they have never even made the attempt to open the Bible and see what does chapter 1 say or the last chapter, what it says. Please take your time and study, and you will realize that we are just tokens in this country. How can you be fasting? They will give you sugar to go and share to people, and then you will hoard them. She's not making it up. They gave journalists sugar last year. He is aware of this story. That every year they give journalists sugar to share. We had 5 bags. Some said 4 bags. Some said 3 bags. How many journalists are we in this country, in this region, in Tamale? Eventually, the sugar that got to us, individual journalists, maybe half a bowl or a bowl. And it was shared by a fasting Muslim. Alaji, see how sad the situation is. And again, I want to encourage you this evening or any evening that you are free after 10 p.m. Unfortunately, for most of our elders, you don't go out at night. You will be scared. I was in town on Friday at 10 p.m. I decided, once in a while I do those rounds. If you see the number of young people who are roaming the streets, half mad, on drugs, and these are all victims of corruption. You can send your children to Abihalpri, to Alasan Bansaba, or wherever, but your children will grow up in this system with these people. And whatever comfort you think you are building for your children today, you are making a big mistake. So whatever is happening on the street there, it will come back to haunt all of us. There are certain parts of Tamale these days, nobody wants to live there and those who are living are trying to get apartments elsewhere to move. Because every day there's an armed robbery incident in those areas. We are all in danger. We are all victims of corruption. Let's end it. Sir, then I go to NTV.
I'm Umar Abdel Hakim from Ahmadiyya Mission. Since one of our brothers stood up and said in collection, so far as the Christian religion is concerned, they do get the well person to make sure that they collect the collections. So far as Ahmadiyya is concerned, we only give you to a trustful human being. And every person have to be received. And even if we are collecting money for the northern region, the money have to go to Accra, that is our headquarters. Then you ask for that money that you have sent before the money is given to you. So most of our religious mosques and churches, in terms of what I know, so far as my mosque is concerned, we don't joke with set collectors. And this one that you pay, you are given a receipt. And even if you pay and the receipt is not given to you, the next day they will look for you and make sure that your receipt is given to you. So mostly our money goes at the right channel and the money are used properly. Alaji yerla laare sampa jona ni chechi no ne benjarma ale mabiyori yalya ne chechi ne am biyan no toto le lani muso umpo malare o santo to ma fiam nzahar la'arma ale yara amadiya jona de le lani muso ne mu gahnel mu marjilma ati joko o beri toni la'ar kam har kubo ayo kubo bandarisi al kubo no kuto darisi ma bandarisi ka tini la'ar ma mi kata mwal wanyan tide oye ben ye chamati wala nam banken kar chan Accra yawon ma ban bor na bazan la'ar ma tun shata na sabba ta kwatan la'ar lam la'ar ma na kana tamal karati yuzu jengama hal la'ar za ta batira aiti lagare ka kema to mun le lagare wo ko kinan lagare wo yelle ka nyama zo lagare kam to la riso zo to mo do le zakara mal lagare zakara ka lagare lir la ni mo so mun to ko en temal la ni dan kan le ko ni ma ta ka ma na.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm John the Baptist from NTV. Personally, when I look at corruption from the onset, it's like corruption has become a topic that really, if you want to go by any definition, you wouldn't arrive at it. Because, like Elijah said, he's broken corruption down to the minimum he can. But even in our homes, even the sharing of food, when we are dishing out food, the father takes the meat or much of the meat. Meanwhile, the children, by health, they are supposed to take more meat, but the father takes more. And he wouldn't complain. Even in my tradition, when they prepare the fowl, they bring it to the man full like that for him to share. And he will be taking bits whilst looking at who to share to. At the end, he becomes satisfied, or he takes his share. That aside, when we look at religion, the leaders or these religious leaders we are all supposed to emulate, like Jesus Christ, the Prophet Muhammad, and all that, were also individuals who were selected. Somebody will ask, was that not corruption? Because why didn't he put Mr. B and Mr. C? But so, fine, it might appear so. I'm asking God. But one will also, another school of thought will say, if it started from there, then there's no way somebody can end it. But I only pray that as we preach every day, we talk about it every day, it's just a matter of your conscience. Whatever you are doing and you think this thing I'm doing is wrong, just stop it. If you want to be lectured before you stop, I'm sure we all here will never stop it. So it's just a matter of conscience. And on that note, I will also make a kind of a mini pledge on behalf of NTV that as a TV station, we also support with airtime. I wouldn't say free, but it will be subsidized so that we could invite resource persons like Alaji and some other people, NCC, then GII, other organizations, to also come on our platform to educate or talk much on this to beat down the level of corruption. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To keep the last three. Yes, even question God.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Bankisu, and I've been with GII for some time now. What I've started doing in my own practice is to encourage people to cultivate the habit of taking receipts. We don't have a good habit when it comes to demanding for receipts. When you go to access health service and you are supposed to access the service for free, and they tell you that you are supposed to pay something, always insist on taking receipts. And one thing that I've also realized that we do is the small tolls we take when we park our motorbikes and then the market tolls. We look at it that the money is maybe peanuts, and then we don't take the receipt. Now, when you don't take the receipt or that small paper from the guy giving it to you, it means you are not helping to develop the country, because it goes to contribute to the tax government collect to use it to develop our country. It means you are helping the person to be corrupt, because once you don't take their receipt, the person does not account for it. And nobody, every human being is a rational human being. If you have refused to take it, you will also be forced to give it to himself. So please, let's cultivate the habit of demanding for receipt, even if you can't read it. You know the amount you paid. When you get home, show it to anybody who can read it, the person can read it. And also, Joseph in his presentation mentioned that there is apathy. We can sit the whole day and talk about corruption. I love what NCC director said. But once we don't report, it still remains what it is. So please, women, as we are here, seem to be good gossips. But this should be a very good gossip. This is a gossip that when you gossip about, you get blessing. So we shouldn't just live here. When we live here, let's go and tell our fellow women in our various groups so that we can be able to firmly stand against this tanker. Thank you very much.
So from tomorrow, I expect a woman to call me and say, hey, have you seen what our accountant has done? I want to hear more of that.
Hello, yes. I don't have any suggestion or commitment to make. I just, when these days, when I think about Ghana and I think about the corruption, I see that sometimes, or not really sometimes, when you look at the thing, it's like our generation will go back, we will never be able to win the fight against corruption. Because the whole system is now like a complex web of corruption that everybody in the country, or almost everybody, is finding a way to go about it to enrich his or herself through the corruption. There are some people already who are also lining up themselves to occupy political offices. You will think that their motivation is to help develop the country. But if you go deep down, they are rather looking for ways to also enrich themselves in the political office. And they can only achieve that through corruption. So we just, we're looking at it and see, I don't know what to work for us to get out of this situation. So, I don't know.
This is the man who has given up. Sadly, this is not where we are supposed to be. We cannot give up the fight against corruption. So from you, and my brother there, the rapper.
My name is Lazarus Napari. I'm a catechist of the Catholic Archdiocese of Tamale. I want to say that the fight against corruption in Ghana, all the effort that NGOs are making, individuals are making, and groups are making, seems to be in vain. It's not yielding any better results because the fight against corruption, the politics has entered into this issue, our effort to fight against the corruption. If someone is corrupt and the person is not wearing a party color, the person goes free. This is how the fight against corruption in Ghana has come to be. And so for me, I have said something the last meeting that we held at the Radach Memorial Center, and I still stand by what I said. If we want in Ghana to fight completely against corruption, our focus should be on the children. The children in the P1 class, those in the P1 class, if we let them know that corruption is an abomination, corruption is an abomination, they will be disobedient. If they grow up, they will know that corruption is no go area. They won't make any attempt. But those of us here, those of us who are grown up, it's like it has become part and parcel of us. It has become part of our blood. We can't fight against it. Even if we know that this person is corrupt, if we go to the politics, then the person will go free. And so for me, how the kind of policies that we are going to formulate so that to educate our children corruption is a terrible disease. Corruption is something that everybody should resist it and then report it. I think when they grow up, the company simply I am pro. The Asamakan way to this time come and bring them at their useful stage. That is the time that we are supposed to start educating them about the menace, the negative effects of corruption in our system. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Touch them down, and they shall be yours forever.
During the rector's presentation, he made mention of something. 2009, 2010, I was moving with one Canadian man, and that fateful day, I was with him in the field, and most of our Ghanaian workers were on strike. And he told me, Rahman, you know what? Ghana will have a big problem. In Africa, we all see South Africa to be the richest country in the continent. That the kind of natural resources that we have in Ghana, South Africa, they don't even have up to half of it. But Ghanaians, our problem is the truth. That if all Ghanaians should be satisfied with the truth for 1 year, that will be far better than South Africans. It's actually true. And then his presentation, I'm not good because each and every one of us here, in one way or another, is corrupt. So you are supposed to go to office by 8 a.m. and close by 5 p.m. You will get to your office around 9. Some will get to office before 8, but their break time is 30 minutes. They will go and spend more than 2 hours probably having a correct. And when you look at the people that we work with, it's like they still have some little trust and read the CSOs than the public officials. When a politician goes to a community to tell them something, you a non-governmental organization officer also goes to the field to tell them something, they will just believe in you than the political leader. So it's a big challenge to all of us to make sure that we keep the trust that people have in us. You see a man going to buy clothes. One time, I went to buy clothes in the morning, and the man who leads us in prayers also came to buy clothes. And then the lady said, hey, check you yourself. Leadership by example. When you yourself is corrupt, how do you tell the subordinates not to be corrupt? One idle woman, one elder with 1 year has not disciplined the child. So you tend to discipline the child and ask, oh, daddy, but what happened to your 1 year? So when they send you to the community, go and deliver my book lesson to the community. Make sure you deliver the fact. Thank you. And now the part of ADRA, we are already in fights against corruption. Even when you look at our vision statement, we have people in poor or in distress, in just and transparent manner. And let's not worry ourselves about the number of hearts that we will touch. Let's keep on preaching to the people. We'll change the world one life at a time. Maybe we are about 40 or 50. If we should all decide to change the way we go about our daily activities, fight against corruption. I'll go out and preach out to 50 people. Out of the 50, 1 person will take it. It will also go in a year. How many people? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll take the last one here. No, and then we'll go to the high table here.
Corruption. But what are saying from that? We have not been saying about measures that we put in place so as to deter people from doing this corrupt action. So it's good for us to look for measures that are harsh, so that any person who will corrupt, and you see this harsh punishment that has been put in place, if I could tell that person from doing corruption. And I'm trying to support this, my brother. Yes, sometimes we are so corrupt, the nation or the country is so corrupt that we are all corrupt. So for that matter, we have to redesign our school curriculum so that the young ones that we are going to bring up, so that we design the school curriculum in such a way that sometimes what he said about, sometimes Mr. Razak said something about the teachers. If we resign our school curriculum, and those who are going to teach, if they are not new people, and they are teachers from this corrupt nation, it means we are not going to make any headway. So for that matter, we have to see our education, our patients, our teachers, leaders, talking of the education, so that they will design a curriculum, so that for the young, to bring up the young one, so that they will learn how to speak the truth. We can give them, we can start nursing them, telling them how to speak the truth, the word. Other than that, if we are talking of corruption, and we are not putting measures that can hinder this corruption, we will still be baffled all the time. We will not get any solution to this corruption. So for that matter, I'm saying that sometimes even if you want, you can call the religious leaders, so that there are certain punishments from our religious leaders, so that when we use it, in fact, something like in the Quran, you see, sometimes when you steal, they touch your hand, so that if these hard measures are put in place, in fact, at least it will reduce this corruption.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
السلام عليكم جماعة المسلمين. أنا من المسلمين جماعة نبغى أمشي كمو بنوم يا سلمة يتعبفوا كان يتعبف ما يا كذا ما دي فنش عدم هي كمو فراب سوري تزوج جلتي فراب بعدين تزوج جلتي دمك كان هو يشاني بنشنو كما زاها تبع ميركون تلا كما زاك لما يفعل كزوج جمال بكا أفا قرار سيمو قرار فهما بنت الشريك ببيلا المشريك من يقومي تبصون تقومي نعصرنا ومن القرآن تمام قرن فهر تفر كان محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم دين كرم بلام موت دل أن يري من أسر نبا بمبت بكوني بلام موت كبمي زاهن دعوة معنا موت وعجي أما بنا بمقام سنين تنبالوانا تي ka niriba pun diya chere ti ke puuni naaga n ʒe niriba so ka bi tina yɛl kpeeni bi yɛltɔɣa ŋɔ maa ti mi di nyɛla yɛl shɛli din nyɛ kpeeni pam ka anbima naawuni kamina ka o ŋɔŋli ti di alqur'aana puuni ka anabi muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ka o ŋɔŋli ti hadiisa puuni anabi yɛl ka dama diya ninvuɣu so ŋun ti biraafu ni ŋun diɛ biraafu bi zaaha bi bela buɣum ni anabi hadisi n bala maa ŋun ti biraafu o bela buɣum ni o yɛn kpɛla buɣum ni ŋun diɛ o yɛn kpɛla buɣum ni Turbo was a happen Karazapon Zam Yemoya. No, the Waji nearby Musulman Nama. Now, certain Makabamba, the Waji, until the nearby. La Raya was the answer to come and part of them Papa Shalom. Kalamade, but for Halaba, the Tanban, the Tanban, Shannon more pump. Then woke up in now. So, the more pumpkin and a young by a partial. There's only one time you more. No, the woman Tamara. Beautiful to the young, the Nama. I need that them Parashap to look up to Blanc. I like your current love. The water bomb at the something, he loves the pony. In Cha, a Fanama, a Sotnama. The Banu, the Wahi Rocket, come in the Wahajin, a Bazan, the Zanta of Solana. They know as a Bazan, the Zanta, Sotnama, and a Pembara nearby. Jipalama, Nirman Tilla Wunya, Shama, Beban Tilla Wunya, Shama, the end the Cabda Mose, Chebia come, he's a Zanzania, Papu, none of the Wahajin, a Chaba, the Wahajin, in Chedda. Then the festival in the Aba. There's a walk to show Mana, when the interior, the Mana, when the Tamla, the Telephone Pamaba, now Java no Tapata. Maria and Afranam Sunny, Maria Aswanam Sun, Abstan and number Adin on the Daima. The dinner and Lama, now when the Tamla, what Korea, the Yamdar, a man upon the Kapatian, the Num, now no Takata,
Thank you very much. What the church is saying that the crusade they are taking is good, and that it should have started long ago. Now people have been too comfortable with corruption, and so there is a need for us to have what we're doing on a constant basis. The Muslims should be on board, the Christians should be on board, and it did indicate that the Prophet of Islam has said very clearly that anyone who gives bribe, the one who takes it, will go to hell. So the issue of corruption is not negotiable in Islam. And he said that against so it is said. That is encouraging us to continue to talk, continue to advocate, and that when we continue with vigor, he is hopeful that we shall get the way out. Thank you very much, Sheikh.
Thank you very much. Okay. We were just about wrapping up, but last one.
Alhaji Razan, please, when you were making your submission, you made mention that you took our late brother to the hospital. And the doctor who was supposed to be there was not well found. And I want to find out from you as a leader, what action have you taken so that others will be free from that? Because, in fact, not from you, I've heard a lot, the way things are going on in TTH and the Central Hospital in West is terrible. So as a leader like you, I know you can still take the action seriously so that the Akram will continue to do the right thing. So please, I want to hear from you.
You see, as for the hospital, we don't want to talk about. Just this weekend, one of the 3 big hospitals, one of them, declared the patient dead. This patient was carried from the hospital in an ambulance all the way to Waliwali. On their way, a relative observed and said, "No, I'm not sure this is a dead body." He observed and they got to Waliwali. When they got to Waliwali, they had prepared the grave. It was past 5 p.m. and the elders were insisting, "Let's go and bury." The young man said, "No, my auntie is not dead." He managed to convince the sister and they stood their ground, so they didn't bury the woman. I am told that by the time they reached a consensus, okay, let's not bury the heart. And while they were passing, that they could see something like tears streaming down the woman's face. The long and short of it is that they managed to go behind the elders, got the doctor from Waliwali Hospital to come and observe observed this woman. When the doctor came, he said, well, you bring him to her to the hospital. Bring the body to the hospital. Let's see. The doctor managed to insert something to the woman, and suddenly, she got up. As we are speaking, the woman has been carried to Accra for further treatment. This is a huge issue. Unfortunately, this gentleman is not willing to share with the media the name of the victim, so we could conduct our investigations. It is the result of what? Corruption. Somebody would have been buried alive. What checks were done to ascertain that indeed this person is dead? Mr. Pandey, not long ago, we investigated a similar case where a child was declared dead. When we checked the child's folder, it was a dead person's folder, and they ended up injecting this child, a baby less than 2 weeks old, injecting that child the wrong drug because it was on a different person's folder. The child died. Drug is still investigating that matter. Every single doctor in this region has a private hospital outside, and that is against the laws of the Ghana Health Service. It's not negotiable. We all know this. But everybody is quiet. Hey, me, I don't want problem. And they are killing us every day. Well,
well, just finish the funeral. I don't think that I'm going to take it very seriously. See, perhaps we have taken, perhaps the Bible will say, fine, it's okay, that is how it's supposed to die. But you see, like you said, many more people are dying. The hospital is the place that you should go and get help. If you go there and die, that is terrible. It's terrible. Around the time that my brother was born, if there was a serious senior net, I mean, he wouldn't have died. I believe very soon. I was there. You see, like over here, because we are so daft, people of this place, we have allowed NDC, NPP, Abdullah Andani to come and do it. So when you are even fronting someone who is over in the class, over, you know, what is that? A crime is a crime. Pastor says a sin is a sin. No matter who does, a person must be punished. If we do that and we punish those who are supposed to be punished for their irresponsibility, and that's the issue. We shall get somebody. We shall be able to solve the issue. We have to be responsible for our responsibilities. If we are irresponsible, then we have to be responsible for our irresponsibilities. That's good.
Thank you very much. On this note, we go back to our senior driver to account for us, and then we'll have our closing prayer. Thank you, Chairman.
When we were learning English, we used to learn big words. In the 1960s, one of the big words I learned was dumbfounded. I am dumbfounded. We have heard a lot. In order not to repeat the lectures or the speeches, we have so many things to take home. One of the things, statements I take very seriously is, no one is immune to corruption, but everyone can fight against corruption. In other words, you and I still can also become corrupt. In other words, we are not covered in any way, prevented from being corrupt. But the other side of the statement is that everyone can fight corruption. Let me tell you two short stories. I beg to take a little bit and listen properly and note how deep that is. And I use the word network, strong network among corruption and corrupt people. Strong network. I have my own water and sanitation organization. Personal one, I started. I went to UK to study, had a friend, he said, let's start something. He gave money, and I came to start and registered an official water and sanitation organization in my own hometown. Wow. We're getting money and working. Then I joined the university, KMST, Kwame University of Science and Technology, as a lecturer. Then the lady who was in my office and working in WA got married, and the husband said, no, let me take you for further education. She went to the university, and I had to replace her. I got my own student who graduated from my hands. Took her to the Gambia to do further studies on water and sanitation. She was there for 5 weeks. I paid her per diem $50 per night for 5 weeks and paid for the course fees. In the end, plus her air ticket, my NGO spent over $4,500 on her. She comes back only to tell me the NGO is small. She cannot continue to work. My own graduate taught her from first year to the final year. Then I said, let me replace her. I met an unemployed person. She did her national service in the bank at KMSU commercial area. She was very good as a national service person. I thought that was a good person. She was unemployed. She comes from Takrady, her hometown. I took her in my car and then said, before that I made an interview her. She performed well in the interview. I put her in my car, drove her from Kumasi, opened my own house in Wa. I have my own house there. Stay in the house for free, use the water for free, use the light for free, let the organization pay for the electricity bill. For us, a water and sanitation organization, we have our own water. She stayed there. In 3 years' time, we got a contract in one of the districts of Wa. 78,950 Ghana cedis. By the time the payment was to be up, she forged my signature as the director of the organization and wrote to the NGO that we have changed our bank account. So wrote to the assembly that we have changed our bank account and this is the new bank account. This is a lady of 25 years. Then one day I had just arrived from a trip in Kenya and then arrived at the airport and somebody called me. Thank God, I wouldn't have known what was happening over my head. Somebody called from that district, the accountant, and said, is that bloke from Ghana? That's the name of the organization. I said, yes. Your check of 50,000 is ready. Because I had known the contract. I had signed the contract. I had known the work was going on. And the payment came for this amount, 50,000 for the first, and the 28,000 something as second and final payment. I said, yes. He said, the check is ready. I said, okay, can you deposit it to their account? He said, oh, can I speak to Thanks. He mentioned the name of the lady. I said, no, I am the director, you put it inside there. He said, oh, the letter came from you saying that the account has been changed. I was totally confused. She knew when the program was going. About 1 week to that time, she said she was going back to school, so she's resigning from the work. I had just come from the journey. Not knowing the network I'm talking about is that the accountant who had called me had befriended my old officer and they were into that clique. This is a woman, my staff is a woman, and the accountant is a man. Very hopeless man. The next day I called back and said, what has happened? So I've paid the money already in the account. That is the latest account. I said, no, suspend the payment of the second tranche. He said, that's already been prepared. Before I could say that, all the 78,000 went into the lady's account. She went away from her completely. I don't even know her hometown. I know she comes from Takrade. But if you know Takrade, it's a big city. Where do you go looking for her? Then I got her. I said, no. I wrote a disclaimer for all the organizations and whatnot that I had introduced and the digital service I had introduced her to as my staff. 3 days later, a young man called from London to say that if I don't withdraw the disclaimer, they are taking me to court. I said, oh, welcome. I'll be happy to go to court. No, I'll take you to Christian Council. I said, oh, if you don't know, I was the director of programs of the Christian Council. Let's go. He withdrew. Then, before I could say that, within 1 week, a letter came from a Lord Chambers in Accra, threatening me with suit if I don't withdraw the letter, the letter of disclaimer in 1 week from the day of receipt of that letter. I responded. I have a big law friend in Kumasi. I made a lawyer to respond. And every lawyer in Ghana here knows Bambuaku and Associates. I made him to respond. In his response, he narrated my story, how I got a young woman unemployed and brought her to this level, and how their client has proved so unfaithful. If they insist, well, I told them that God will refund my money to me. The girl cannot do well in this world. She will not. I didn't do you any harm. What bad did I do to you? Taking you from unemployment on the streets of Kenya, bring you to my house, you are staying in my house, you are sleeping for free, and you think you can defraud me and go? It's not the God I know. Kwame Kwame said that if they want to insist, his client has been very magnanimous with their client. If they insist, let's go to the courts. But my client is not withdrawing the disclaimer today, is not withdrawing the disclaimer tomorrow. Then I went back to the district, to the district where the contract was signed. And none of the officers was ready to talk to me. I went to the accountant, he was not ready to talk to me. I went to the accounts clerk, he was not ready to talk to me. I went to the engineer, he was not ready to talk to me. My driver is here, he took me around all those things. I came back and went to the regional community water and sanitation organization in Wagga, not knowing the accountant there and the accountant in the district came together. Are you listening to the network? When I want to talk to the accountant, Bishop, you see, we didn't know that was the whole thing. You could just see his involvement. And then I gave her a cheap program. A banner get the book man, get the opportunity. The stick they used to hit ban, they will use the same stick to hit it. I am going. Came back. And only about 2 months later, a WhatsApp text came to my number. Hello, darling. It's a long time. I've not heard from you. So I'm connecting back. I did as if I was the darling. When I saw the number, I remembered the number that called me for the payment of the 50,000. And I said, hello, darling. This is indeed the Lord time. Then I pretended as if I was a woman. I encouraged this man. And for about 5 days, he was talking all manner of what I call nasty language. And I encouraged him to talk. At the end of it, we had agreed to meet in the hotel. He said, oh, he's now on transfer coming to work. He's coming to be in the regional administration, to be a regional accountant and so on and so forth. And so it will be good news that we will be in work together. This man is a Christian. Eventually I realized that I should get this man who is talking. So I asked the question, Mr. So and so, I have called his name. Do you know the way you are talking to? This is the bishop, the director of Holy Contact. You can now imagine the words that came from him. When he thought I was his girlfriend, who he helped to do the director. Now it has turned out that he is the director. But then he has said everything he needed to say to a girlfriend. And he was now coming to meet the girlfriend in the hotel. This is the network, which is evil. And that is the type of thing that is happening across the country, in small, big, low, and high places. This is it. The 78, nearly 80,000 gone. And before I could say that, the lady has been employed by an organization in Ghana. And I said, we don't do things properly in Ghana. The time I was director of programs and was always sitting in an interview, on the interview panel. If you are leaving one organization and coming to join the Christian Council, I will ask that go back to that organization and bring a recommendation letter. Because the question is, why are you leaving that organization? Today, we don't do that. Nobody does that. So you can steal from A, leave A's company, go to B, and then go and continue with the stealing. Because B will not cross-check why you left A's company. Director, I said I want to take a little bit. This is what we are doing. So I have resolved that I'm no longer going to employ any young university graduates. Unemployment will be part of them as far as they are not ready to be honest and sincere. From these two examples, my own student did this to me. Another unemployed person did this to me. Who can I trust? You need to convince me. You need to convince me that you will be different. All the university graduates I've been teaching for 15 years in the university. All of you are yet to convince me. All of you. And I'm not ready to write any recommendation for any university graduates. Or if I had written a recommendation for any of these people, what would have happened to my own integrity? I may be sounding harsh, but you can imagine where I am coming from. Right now, as I talk directly, we cannot get any work because of the way it is now difficult to get new contract to work for only boreholes. In any case, I don't have any staff. Corruption is a network. And for those of us who are ready to fight it, we need to be very difficult and tough in ourselves. I went on my pastoral visit, we have what we call pastoral visit. I went with my driver to Wa for 11 days. One of the villages I went to, and my heart is broken. It's 67 kilometers there. 67 kilometers away from town. The road is only up to 30 kilometers. The rest of the 37 kilometers, the people have to use over 1 week to weed a path for our car to pass to them. They are in Ghana. We are talking about our communities directly. When we eventually got there, I didn't know what to say. My only question from my opening was that, do you also vote? They said yes. I said, next time, tell the politicians you will not vote. No water, no food. There's no water in the village. There is no road to the village. 67 kilometers, 37 of them have to be weeded by the people to welcome the bishop. In today's Ghana, and that is just October. No water, no road, no school, no chief's compound. The nearest chief's compound is about 27 kilometers down. So if a woman is in difficult labor, there's no means of transport. It's a bicycle. They have to carry the laboring woman for 27 kilometers backwards before she can labor and give birth. I just want to show you the water they drink. Now I'm negotiating with a friend to get them borehole, and that's right. I wish we could project this. From this, you cannot be this. Are you getting it? Are you seeing the small hole down here? That's the water hole. Now you can be going back to that small hole. This is a whole community of more than 500 people. They don't matter to us as a people in the country. Now I've sent this as a proposal to a friend in UK, and God willing, January, February, we'll go and sink a hole. The question I keep asking is, are there not DCEs in those districts? Students there, you can ask me, we went to over 20 what we call villages. And out of the 22, we went after 22 villages. Out of the 22 villages, they are all of them, these are the conditions. He's there. That's my grandma. He's in there. We go collecting votes from these people. What conscience do we have? What is in our head? Let me raise my case here before I get angry. The bishop should not be angry. But it's telling you the brokenness of our hearts. When corruption can leave other people in this stage of their life. Then we get up and have a shopping basket. So what in what Zimbabwe they were calling Mugabe's who are selling Mugabe, that she was having a shopping basket. The one was going only to market to shop. She has hospital, and these are all cars V8. A V8 only for market, a V8 for hospital, a V8 for social gatherings, a V8 for her office. Meanwhile, there are villagers who are struggling. And that's the type of situation we find ourselves. My only way to find it, directors, don't reward. I told them, if the people come here, sack them. Tell them, if there is no water, no food, the basic necessity of human being is water. Basic. They are a farming village. They don't need any food from us. They farm food in abundance. They cannot even get a bicycle These guys are developing motorkey to carry the food to the nearest 37-kilometer town. Those of you who know, there's a town called Logo. If you get to Logo, there's no road to Kalama and others. Why do we vote? To give power to people for them to abuse our rights. I'm sorry. I leave my case. But let's take it that we have a responsibility to fight. We have a responsibility to fight. In Latin America, Mexico, and other countries where they do hard drug business, the drug people arm themselves and fight the anti-drug people. I think we are getting to that level. What will be? The corruption people will arm themselves to fight anti-corruption people. Or there's a strong network. It is difficult to catch one of them.
I think our chairman deserves more. He has left all of us confounded. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And if you are someone who travels around the country like some of us, you will be angrier than what our chairman, the way our chairman is. We pray that we'll find a way to change ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been here for too long, and it is time for us to go home. We will now go back to Baobi to give us a closing prayer. Okay. You want 1 minute? And then we'll have our closing prayer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, with all due respect, permit me to just say 1 or 2 words on the flyers I'm giving out. You see some toll-free numbers on the flyer. GI has a corruption reporting mechanism. It's called ILAC. The details are in the flyer, but I just want us all to take it seriously. Let's take advantage of this opportunity. And when we become victims and witnesses of corruption, let us report. And know that when you report to GIA, the matter will be dealt with, the matter will be looked into. Time will not permit me. There are so many examples of cases that we have received. Some are TTH, a whole lot. Please, let's take advantage of this reporting mechanism. And on behalf of GI, I thank all of you for your patience up to this point. And we hope that as we leave here, we shall stand united against corruption, for development, for peace and security in our country. God bless you.
And God bless you. Thank you very much. You give us a closing prayer.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Please, let us be in a prayer mode and say closing prayer. In the name of Allah, most gracious and merciful, all praise belongs to Allah, Lord of the world, most gracious and merciful, Master of the day of judgment. You alone do we worship and you alone do we implore for help. We thank you for making this day successful for us. As we disperse, we ask you to be with us. Thank you for the wonderful time that we have shared. May your angels go before us and clear the way so that each and every one of us will get to our destination safe and sound. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm told we have a group photograph outside, and then we will now disperse to our various homes.
Announcement. After the group photograph, please you see my sister Barikisu. Barikisu, please rise. And then Basit. Where is Basit? Abdul Basit. So you see Barikisu and Basit will give you some token for your TNT. Meanwhile, lunch is also packed outside there.
Can I add that we've noted those who didn't speak, so the token is not for those of who didn't talk. All the ladies who didn't talk, I took note of you.
dá mi lò.